So the last S is stress. Stress, or stress, as I like to call it, the stress optimization. We need to optimize stress in our life. We all experience stress. In fact, before COVID, the landmark studies showed that 80% of us had some significant stressor or event throughout the course of 1 year that would happen in our life. Now, post-COVID, that number is in the 90 some odd percent. And the landmark study looking at stress was in 2012. It was 180,000 patients. And what they did, this was super interesting. I haven't seen it repeated, at least to this scale. They took these 180,000 people and asked them to rate their stress. Do you have mild stress, moderate, or severe stress? And they got to rate it. And then the second question they asked was, do you believe that the stress is harmful to you, that it might adversely affect your health? Or do you believe that it could be something positive? Could it be a growth experience? Like during COVID, many of us had to pivot our work because we couldn't go into a traditional brick and mortar place. We had to pivot a little bit. And so some of us were like, hey, this is a new opportunity to do something different. For me, at first, I was like, holy crap, my kids are all at home. Like, it's amazing. I love my kids, but like sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of a break from them, right? But when I sort of pivoted, I'm like, oh my gosh, what a blessed time in my life where my kids get to be home with me every single day. I get to be involved in their teaching and all that. I approached it differently. So what they found was this top tier group that had the highest level of stress, only those who believed the stress was negative or could be harmful to their health, those were the ones that had the negative health outcomes. In fact, it was like 30 or 40% of them had untoward health outcomes of that group. Of those that also rated their stress high, that were in that same tier of the amount of stress, those that believed that it could be beneficial, it could be a positive experience, a growth experience, the stress was actually protective for them. In other words, they had a lesser chance of developing significant illness or dying early. And this is just a phenomenal study. There's a whole book that was written on this. I believe it was by Kelly McGonigal a few years back. And I don't remember the name of it, but she really elucidated a lot of these studies, shared how powerful the mind is, not much different than Bruce Lipton, but this was looking at things like stress and how we do have a significant role in how that plays out in our body, how we give it meaning. We get to choose the meaning of that stress. So there's, I talk about that. I talk about a lot of different strategies we can use to reduce or just sort of, deal with it, optimize the stress that we have, everything from, breathing, movement, meditation, mindfulness. There's a ton of different things we can be doing. But the cool thing is this also lies mostly under our control. We get to decide the meaning. So it's profound. It's I think, just astounding how powerful we all can be. And we get to decide whether these stressful things that happen to us will affect our, trajectory in a positive way or in a negative way. Many people have said things like, life happens for us and not to us, if that's the way we decide. And I really believe that. We get to choose how that'll play out.
Hey, this is Ari. I hope you enjoyed this little clip. And if you want to listen to the full-length podcast, the link for that is down in the description below. Also, one more thing before you go, I want to mention, in case you don't already know about it, our formula, Energenesis. This is an amazing product that has multiple compounds in it that are scientifically proven in numerous studies to increase your energy levels, not just by 3% or 5% or 10%, but by 30 or 40 or 50% in a very, very short time frame. So one of these compounds that I'll mention here is called NT factor phospholipid, and it is an extract of phospholipids that comes from lecithin, and they extract the pure phospholipids from this. Things like phosphatidylcholine, phosphatidylethanolamine, and many others. And these are the same fatty acid compounds, phospholipid compounds, that compose our cell membranes and mitochondrial membranes. And this specific patented formula has been shown actually to enter into the bloodstream undigested, basically without being broken down and denatured through the digestive process in the stomach and the intestines. It makes it into the bloodstream and actually makes it all the way to our cells and to our mitochondria, where it helps repair damaged mitochondrial membranes and facilitates our mitochondria functioning better. Now, all of that sounds like wonderful theory, and it sounds like it could be beneficial, but the real test is, has it actually been studied and been proven to increase your energy levels? And the answer is yes, absolutely. There are numerous studies outlined in a wonderful paper by a scientist named Garth Nicholson, in a paper called Lipid Replacement Therapy. I highly recommend checking this out if you're interested in digging into the research. But this compound has been studied in the context of multiple different kinds of chronic fatigue. Aging-related chronic fatigue, obesity-related chronic fatigue, obscure things like Gulf War illness, and numerous studies in chronic fatigue syndrome. And there are studies showing that this has the capability. They've taken one study, in fact, actually showed that in elderly adults over the age of 65, it restored their mitochondrial health, which had deteriorated heavily. It restored it to the level of healthy 29-year-olds, believe it or not. And they've actually measured energy levels in these people. And all of these studies across the board show improvements in energy of at least 25%, and typically more like 35 to 45% in just the span of between 4 to 12 weeks. That's how long all of these studies are, 4 to 12 weeks. They're showing dramatic, huge improvements in energy levels by helping to repair these mitochondrial membranes through this thing called lipid replacement therapy, using, again, this patented form of a phospholipid extract called NT factor. This is just one of about 20 ingredients proven to benefit mitochondrial health that you'll find in my formula Energenesis. So I strongly encourage you, if you are struggling with your energy levels, if you're dealing with chronic fatigue, go grab yourself a bottle or 3 of this, or subscribe and save. Try it out. You are going to be blown away by the results. We get so many testimonials. We get so many emails from people talking about how this one thing has transformed their lives. So I cannot encourage you strongly enough to give this a shot. And let's say you buy 3 bottles, try out the first one, give it a month. And if you don't notice significant improvements, you can return the unopened bottles to us for a full refund. So give it a shot. I really think you're going to be blown away by the results. The formula is called Energenesis, and you can get it at theenergyblueprint.com or click the link below. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you again very soon.